Patients who experience symptoms weeks, sometimes months after contracting the virus.
So we spoke recently to one New Jersey mother, right, who considers herself a long hauler. MRINALINI NAIR gave us a glimpse of what life has been like for her.
I ended up being really sick, like I couldn't move around for 8 weeks. I took the time off from work, but I literally, if I cooked a meal, I was exhausted after that. But even after those 8 weeks, and even when I returned to work virtually, I was still struggling with a lot of symptoms. Like I had really bad cramps in my legs.
Hoylman just introduced a bill that creates a health registry to monitor long haulers, much like the one crafted in the wake of 9/11 terror attacks. So he joins us now. Good morning. So good to see you.
Morning.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Okay, so we understand that you had, back when we spoke to you months ago, you had your vaccine, but these long haulers, after experiencing these symptoms, unfortunately, they have not been able to regain some of the normalcy when it comes to either smelling, tasting, the lack of fatigue. So how does this bill help them?
Well, what it does is it establishes a framework, a repository of information, if you will, that enables the state of New York to track their well-being, much like we did after 9/11, when all of those first responders rushed to the pile and the workers down around the World Trade Center had lingering side effects, some of them lifelong disabilities, of course, sadly, many cancers. And the model of the World Trade Center 9/11 registry is what we're using to write this bill, which is very similar in that we would ask for volunteers to submit their medical information, and then the state of New York would be able to track it and provide information to these volunteers, see what their progress is over time, take a baseline snapshot, and ensure that disability benefits, other services, updated information, including medicines, would be provided to these individuals.
Understood, because I think that's huge, right? Because a lot of people worry that if they have long-term effects, that the medical costs will add up and the prescription costs will certainly add up. So I'm glad to hear that this could be looked at as a way to help folks with that, some kind of financial relief there. I also want to talk to you about this new law here in the state that really benefits couples choosing surrogacy as a way to build their families. This was huge, a process that you and your husband went through yourselves. So talk to us more about what the new law entails first and foremost.
Well, yes, it is big, and it's one of the silver linings in a very difficult 2020 that we passed this bill. It's called the Child Parent Security Act. Prior to its passage, New York State was one of the only 2 states in the country that refused to allow surrogacy, us in Michigan. In fact, it was illegal to the point that it was criminal. So what our law does is enable folks, parents, intended parents, individuals, to engage a surrogacy and through a surrogacy agreement and have a child. And we think it's straightforward, but it is very complicated when you get down to the nuts and bolts. So what it does is provide a number of protections for the well-being of the people who act, for the women who act as surrogates.
Yeah, let's dive deeper into that, because I know that you used a surrogate, right? You did it during a time when you couldn't do it in New York, so you had to go through a bunch of hoops and hurdles for that. So I do want you to talk about that in this as well. But when it comes to protecting surrogates and families, I mean, you talked about that agreement, right? That agreement can go in many different forms and many different directions.
It could. And that's why it's important that New York has this law, because New Yorkers are going to states that have no laws, that where surrogacy may be permitted by virtue of default because there were no laws on the books and there were no protections for surrogates or intended parents. So our new law has what we are calling a Surrogates Bill of Rights. It's a statutory backstop for the protections of the surrogates, such as their health and welfare decisions. They have to get independent legal counsel. They get to choose their own doctor and have health insurance and medical costs paid for.
So, you know, we were just talking about financial relief in terms of COVID, right, and long-term costs. Surrogacy is not cheap. It comes at quite the cost here. So is there a benefit for folks? Is there any way to help them financially if they're looking and saying, I can't have a child and I also can't afford surrogacy? What is their option?
Well, I do know that by having surrogacy in New York, we do lower a lot of costs. My husband and I had to fly back and forth to California, 3,000 miles, airline travel, hotels, expenses, and the like. Having it in New York, closer to home, is a cost savings measure. But of course, having a child through any process is very expensive. I'm hopeful that surrogacy agencies, as they've done in other states, will provide financing for families or individuals, infertile couples, LGBTQ couples who want to have children in order to pay for it.
Yeah, I want to talk to you more about your personal experience, because I think it really can shed the light on folks out there who are looking at this new law and saying, well, it not only allows me the ability to have a family, but it's breaking down a lot of barriers that you actually face. So walk us through what you experienced and what this means for folks who are wanting to expand their family now.
Yeah, well, I'm very similar, my husband and I, to a lot of gay couples in New York. It's hard to adopt children. It's not straightforward, and some adoption agencies in some states look very skeptically at gay couples. You should know that. But putting that aside, there was no option for us here in New York. So I'm a lawyer. I found the state that had the best laws at the time. That was California. We flew out to California. We engaged a surrogate. We're still great friends with our surrogates. They gave us the gift of life. Both of my husband and my name is on the birth certificate, and we have a remarkable family, a 10-year-old and a 3-year-old. But it was very confusing. Without the laws in New York, it was a bit of kind of walking through the Wild West.
You have a beautiful, beautiful family.